Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I want to first start off in the most holy name of Allah, always bearing witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum again. Welcome to your Thank you. Welcome to your Thursday night talk.
Your Thursday night talk.
Your Thursday night talk.
You
Not
have
mine.
the opportunity to chat with us live.
Yours.
Yours.
I want to thank you all for coming. And before I even get started, I just have one simple request. If y'all could just do that for me. I'm just going to leave that right there, as they said in the streets. Just leave it right there. Please like and share and subscribe. Please.
It doesn't cost anything to do that.
Doesn't cost anything. Just boop. Cause it does cost a little, movement, but that's exercise. This finger movement. So please,
Sister Kalila, we're living in a time where the generation is like, too much energy. Too much energy. Come on, fight against that inertia within self. Right now, just go ahead and just lift up that finger and just go click.
And we guarantee you the contents of these shows will feed your soul, will feed others. And if you will just scroll down our YouTube, Facebook page, you will see something that possibly can help save your life. So I don't want to belabor the point. I want to actually introduce. Go ahead.
At minimum, Sister Kalila, you will be very well informed about particular topics.
That's right.
And you'll develop a knowledge base on how to save your life through different mediums, as we will get into in just a moment.
I totally agree with you. So again, I don't want to belabor the point. I want to do a round off announcements of all my wonderful, handsome, intelligent Black men that's a part of the 7th Region Coalition. I am going to start from this is technically my right, but StreamYard is making me say left, but this is my right. Because
it's right next to you. He's right next to you.
This is my brother like no other. Anything I need, I could just say, my brother, let me hold something. This is my dear brother, the one and only smart and intelligent brother Mark X. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, ma'am. How are you doing?
Man, I'm on top of the world, still holding on to that rope that never ever break. And I guarantee you, if it don't break, because my arm's gonna break, I'm gonna borrow yours, brother Mark, to hold on to the rope again.
Praise be to Allah.
Praises be to Allah. And down here, literally, he is down. So I'm in Jacksonville, and look, brother.
Literally,
Tony
yeah,
is
we
down.
are down. No, both of us down here are down
Well,
here.
well, you down. You down.
I'm not that far there. I'm not in the Keys, Sister
Yeah,
Khalid.
well, you're not in the Keys, but you're down for me.
Brother Philip knows what I'm talking about. I'm not in Homestead, Sister Khalid.
Oh yeah, right. What they say, Florida City.
I'm not in Florida City.
So I know that's
That's
down.
down.
My dear brother, listen, my right and my left as it relates to the 7th Region
I
Coalition.
don't know what you mean, Sister Khalid.
Listen, some of this stuff, some of these things, some of these projects, it would not be possible only by Allah's grace and permission. And my dear brother Tony, on the ones and twos. So I thank Allah for you, brother Tony.
It's always an honor to
Welcome.
be a service.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
And listen, and to my
Your corner.
he is my hierarchy. He makes me look good and make me feel good when I accomplish good things. What a wonderful hierarchy he is to me. And he also is and he's also a co-host of mine. I got both worlds, and he does it with swag. I want to introduce you to brother Philip. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, man. We just representing, 7th Region. We out here, getting it in. How y'all doing up there in Duval? What's going on in Duval?
Rainy, very rainy.
Yeah.
Very rainy, but not as rainy as y'all got.
Gotcha.
Y'all got a flood.
No, that was a few weeks ago. Don't
Right.
you bring that down here.
No, we don't want to. We really
No.
don't want to. We don't want no smoke. Praises be to Allah. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to my dear brother Tony, and he's going to introduce the actual ministry that we're going to actually be focused on today, because this is going to be juicy. Please get your friends, your family members, because if you want to know about the ins and outs and the real details that's going on about real estate, you need to get your friends and your family, because it's going down. Brother Tony, the floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God, to whom holy praises are forever due, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, the Supreme Being, to whom holy praises are forever due. I am forever thankful to Almighty God Allah for showing his divine favor of Black people here in North America and the Aboriginal peoples of the earth. I thank Allah for his raising of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ, and now Mahdi, the eternal leader of the nation of Islam. And I thank them both for the honorable minister, Farrakhan, the Messiah of Allah's Christ, in our midst. In their divine names, I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Buenas noches. Sakpase, Brother Philip. Free the land. Abaragani. Greetings and whatever greetings you greet your people in, and which is our people as well. Welcome to Thursday Night Talks, which is headed up by the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. The 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled by our Student Regional Minister, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, in the midst of the pandemic. Soon after the criterion message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which took place on July 4th, 2020. And it was as a result of that lecture and that message that the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled as a research team to fact find information about a dangerous inoculation that our open enemy had produced. And of course, as always, they target us and target the American people and target people worldwide like guinea pigs. They're still experimenting on us. And so with us, we're seeking to save lives. We were once giving that type of information. We still are. But we are branching out, and we have been branching out through the 9 ministries, very critical information that is always geared towards saving lives. These 9 ministries were put together by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan back in 2005 in the midst of the Millions More movement. Tonight's program, we will be focusing on the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, which, of course, we as the members of the Nation of Islam, we are encouraged to participate in fake estate.
I love that.
You know, not things out there that become trends, but real estate, meaning land itself, properties, physical properties that we can dwell in and make use of, which is invaluable. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that a nation's engine is, in fact, farmland.
That's
Perhaps
right.
we will go in a little bit into that tonight. But the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, this ministry is responsible for the growth and development of the business and economic interests of the society. The ministry is dynamic in nature, relying on the input of consultants with experience and success in business and economics. It analyzes the economic state of the community and develops programs and policies for growth and stability on the basis of the needs of the community. It translates skills, talents, and interests of the community into viable revenue streams and works with the Ministry of Education to encourage entrepreneurship. In fact, the Ministry of Education is that ministry that focuses on the development of all those other ministries. You would not have any other ministry really besides the one of spiritual development if it was not for education. I will say that, which I am involved in the field of education. But tonight we are going to be educated by our beloved brother, Brother Michael Shabazz, which he will be introduced by Brother Philip. Brother Philip, we hand it over to you.
Alhamdulillah. And before we go into the introduction of our brother Michael Shabazz, we do have a special section that is called Righteous News. Well, hello, Seventh Region Coalition. We see you, Sister Kim.
Yes. Kim, me and you are never part, my key, da. Hey, Kim, I miss you. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all.
Sister Kalila.
I was like, what did I do?
Yes, we're just super excited to see our sister.
Listen, it's been a minute. I'm so happy.
Look, we developed a strong bond with those who follow us.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Sister Kalila.
Thank you for expressing that
you, Sister Kim.
Overjoy of excitement.
But this week, one of the things that we do want to focus on a little bit more in our upcoming episodes of the Seventh Region Coalition to help save lives is none other than the Final Call newspaper, because that is to get the truth out in our community. And the Final Call newspaper, in this upcoming section, not upcoming, in the latest issue that you see Sister Kalila holding up, which says Uncovering the Truth. Let me pull it up for you right quick. We just want to go over a few of the wonderful stories that are in.
And while you're pulling that up, Brother Mark actually has some good information in the center article. So while you're pulling that up, I can pull up the center article as well. But go ahead, Brother Philip. Just wanted to add
wonderful. So if you all can see, the cover story is our sister had up, Israel had forewarning about the October 7th attacks. That's the cover story on the Final Call newspaper in this recent issue. And you can always go to finalcall.com for more news, information from the Final Call newspaper. And we want to encourage everyone to download the app, which is Final Call Radio. You'll see it right at the top. streaming live 24/7, 365 days a year, where you can hear insightful and on-time lessons, teachings, and the beautiful voice of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, as well as some very unique and beautiful musical selections also played by our beloved minister. So we want to encourage everyone to continue to support the Final Call newspaper. And one of the really important articles that is in this week's Final Call newspaper, just to let you know how dope. Can I use that word dope? Right? I could say dope. Right?
Dope is good. Dope is a good.
To tell you
positive and
how
negative.
important. Dope is good. Well, it's not just us bigging up the Final Call newspaper. It's also the National Newspaper Publishers Association. The Final Call was among winners at the Black Press Awards, and you can read all about it over in Baltimore. The Final Call was one of several winners at the 2024 National Newspaper Publishers Association Fund Messenger Awards. The awards recognize the best of the Black press, and as the NNPA marked the 197th anniversary of Black newspapers in the United States at its annual convention held this year in Baltimore. And you see our beloved sister Starla, who's right there second from side, who also you can catch her on Closing the Gap. She was receiving the award for the Final Call newspaper. So in addition to that story in the Final Call newspaper, there's also a very critical article that recently was in the Final Call newspaper. I'm working this out, y'all. I'm doing the production and the other side of it right quick. There's one other story we'll share with you, and that story is
like how we say in
the one that is dealing. Take your time. All right. Well, there's also a very important article about a lawsuit filed against Landmark Reparations Program by Brother Torre Muhammad, and in that article, there's a Judicial Watch, a conservative Washington, D.C. based organization, has filed a class action lawsuit to stop the city of Evanston, Illinois, from paying $25,000 in reparations to each of its Black residents. Now, can you imagine the city council, right? In that particular city in 2021, Evanston made history as the first U.S. city to implement a reparations program for Black residents, led by former Fifth Ward Alderman Robin Rue Simmons. The city passed an ordinance by an 8-to-1 vote, creating a $20 million program to pay $25,000 to each of its Black residents whose ancestors suffered from housing discrimination during segregation. Well, recently, they pulled the money back.
Oh wow!
They reneged on the money. But you can read more about it at finalcall.com. We want to encourage everybody, please go to finalcall.com and continue to follow the Final Call newspaper. And in saying that, I want to turn it over to Brother Mark. Brother Mark, you got something to share with us from the Final Call?
Yes, sir. Was Tony trying to get in?
Yeah, I was trying. I just want to make a quick comment. $25,000. They owe a lot more than that. They better be thankful that that's all they're paying right now.
Let's add it up.
And you saying that, here we go right here. Come on and bring that point even clearer for us, Brother Mark.
Come on out to Muhammad Mosque number 29 and all of the mosques in the 7th region. We have our mosques in Tampa and Jacksonville. Come out and visit our study groups in Tallahassee, our mosque in Pensacola. If you don't know how to get there, contact us. We will help guide you on how to get there. Let's dialogue together and find out how we can bring reparations to ourselves. We have to be the first reparations to ourselves as we are seeking to repair self.
And this is why we have to read the Final paper. And I'm not going to belabor the time, just to point out and highlight this center article, which has highlights from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's, one of his, well, all of them are memorable, but this is one of his most memorable lectures.
Yes, sir.
Case for reparations added up. So for all of those who don't think that America owes Black people anything, look at the words of the Honorable Minister Louis, because he basically states that America, you owe us something. And he said, we don't want you to dole out dole it out in welfare checks. If you give us what you owe us, we'll take it from there. So we'll give you some examples. The minister points out how America did detain thousands of Japanese Americans in concentration camps. And now Congress says that America treated them wrongly and has okayed several billions of dollars to be paid to the Japanese in reparations. But recognize the evil that they did to the Jews, and they are now paying reparations to Israel. They formally apologized from the East German parliament, stating that they asked the people of Israel to forgive them for the hypocrisy and his hostility of official East German policy toward Israel. Now, they admitted that. And so the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that we asked Black people of America, now this is what America should say, they should ask Black people of America to forgive them for their hypocrisy and hostility of the official United States policy toward Black people. Family, it is so much that they owe us. When you consider the lives that were lost in the transatlantic slave trade, when you
add it up,
that were lost here in America, when you
add it up,
lives that were lost by the Native Americans, and you can
add it up,
stealing the land, stealing Texas, stealing New Mexico, stealing all of the lives that were impacted and affected, all of the mistreatment of us. I'm going to the very end. He said that 100 million in the Middle Passage, and you have 150 million white people in America today, add it up. And if God's way of justice is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life, you consider what that means. And so the minister closes that article talking about how Allah God has warned Babylon, how he destroyed Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah. And he warned you that it was water the first time, but it'll be fire the next time. So the minister says you better add it up. Now, for more details, please go to that article. And so you can get all what the minister said. And I'm going to turn it back over to...
Brother Mark, can I comment very quickly?
Please.
It was in that lecture. I don't think it's in the transcript because, of course, we get a condensed version with the transcript. But in the actual lecture, the minister said that if you add it all up, it's like whatever reparations that the enemy would give us, it would not equate. They're going to have to give the whole country to us.
Right.
But we're not asking for that. We want 8 to 10 states. Really, part of our discussion tonight, the importance of real estate, but land for ourselves, because our indigenous family, they've been put on reservations. Look at the phrase of the itself. It comes from the word to reserve territory for a particular purpose. And so with our indigenous family, they're suffering on all different type of levels. They are in need of reparations, but true reparations, reparations of the mind, which will result in true reparations in the physical. I wanted to share that, dear family.
Thank you so much. And you can find more information in regards to this article as well as the actual lecture. If you go to YouTube and type in the case of reparation added up, April the 28th, 1990, and it will pull it up. And it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, but we got time to hear about reparations. So please stay tuned to that, and we're going to move it along. Brother Philip, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Oh, Sister Kalila, you mentioned before about hierarchy, and I definitely wanted to share this because our hierarchy recently was in the Final Call newspaper. Our dear beloved brother Abdul Rauf Muhammad, who was recognized as one of the most distinguished men in Illinois, and that article is also in the Final Call newspaper. Nation of Islam Student National Protocol Director Abdul Rauf Muhammad is a longtime follower and student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he's also a member of the nation's Shura Executive Council. He's a husband, a father, and a servant to his community, and he was recently recognized with the Distinguished Award as one of the most distinguished men in the state of Illinois. So we want to send a big, big, big shout out, love, and assalamu alaikum to our dear brother Abdul Rauf Muhammad for that special recognition. And in saying that, let us bring on our guest, who is over in the cut waiting for us. We have none other than our dear brother Michael Shabazz, who is with us this evening, and he is the CEO of the Team Blessed Realtors, a team of realtors responsible for helping hundreds of families achieve a fundamental necessity within the Black community: home ownership. In 2022, Brother Shabazz is on a mission to place 100 Black families in their own homes, and since 2022, he's been doing just that. Team Blessed is focused on improving the condition of the Black family and creating a safe and decent community by investing in real estate. Prior to building a realtor business, he was a Hillsborough County mathematics teacher and currently a board member of Legacy Preparatory Middle School. As a member of the Nation of Islam, Brother Michael is also the NOI's real estate consultant for the 7th Region and the student secretary of Muhammad Mosque number 47 in Tampa, in addition to over 20 years of service as a brother of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Brother Michael Shabazz is a skilled educator with a passion for real estate. Team Blessed Realtors is on a mission to educate the Black family in acquiring real estate to produce luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies, let's bring them on with a warm round of applause. Our brother, Michael Shabazz.
Bless up, bless up, bless up, family. Bless up. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods.
Peace
to Islam. Of the gods.
Islam and Allah. Arm, leg, arm, head. It's 5 of us. It's 5 of us. We came together.
That's why you're a math teacher. A math guy.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Praises be to Allah. Well,
my pleasure to be on Thursday night talk. Yes. Let's get into it. I'm so hyped up. That got me so hyped up. I'm ready to get into it. Talk black to me.
Listen, so this question here is really a serious one because we're coming out swinging, Brother Michael. So one of our main questions is a very concerning question: is will the house market crash? And what does it look like for consumers?
I do get that question often. The answer to it may be very disappointing to people, but I don't know.
Okay.
Right? And anyone who tells you they do know, they are lying to you. Right? Because if they did know, that means they can predict the real estate market. That means they can make a boatload of money, right? Just like if we could predict the stock market in advance, we'd be able to make a super huge amount of money, right? We'll all be billionaires. Right. So the same thing in real estate. We don't know. And the proof of that is this. When we came into the pandemic in 2020, what did everybody think the market would do in the real estate market?
Right.
Right.
We thought it would fall, right? It would make sense that you would think that the market would be falling during that time, right?
Right.
But it actually did the opposite, right?
Okay.
Prices went through the roof. People in 2020 were spending $25,000, $50,000 over listed price.
Dear God.
Right? It was a phenomenon that no one expected, unexpected. Right? So we just don't know. What we can do is go based on what the market is right now and make the best decision we can right now. And lastly, the best decision for us right now if you don't have a piece of this earth, regardless of interest rates, regardless of price, if you don't have a piece of this earth already, your best move is to get a piece of it, regardless of the circumstances. You're going to be in a better position by having a piece of land, a home on your own.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much.
Excellent
Brother
answer. Thank you, brother.
Brother Michael, I'm going to hit you with some numbers, and these numbers are also going to hit many viewers here. In a recent analysis of the Case-Shiller National Home Price Index by Resi Club, it reveals a staggering surge of 47.1% in U.S. home prices since the start of 2020, as you mentioned earlier. Yet and still, interest rates have increased. They have not decreased as the Feds originally projected. In some cities, new home construction has halted. It's halted in cities like Phoenix, Arizona, where they were projecting a lot of people moving in there, but now that's like it's halted. And very few people are actually purchasing homes right now. For people that have not given up hope, and despite these hard circumstances, and still have a desire to purchase a home, Brother Michael, what are some methods prospective homeowners could navigate through and overcome in order to buy a home?
Those numbers are very daunting, brother. Very daunting. And truthfully, it is much harder for a starting family or individual to purchase a home now. Much harder than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. Much harder than it was 3 or 4 years ago. When I started in this business, which is about 10 years ago, when I started my real estate business, I was literally selling starter homes, brand new homes, right? Brand new homes for in the Tampa Bay area at around $175,000 for brand new homes. And many of my clients during that time, 10 years ago, they had a minimum down payment, a small down payment of about $1,000. That same exact home now that I sold for about $175,000 today would cost you around $350,000. The same exact home, and that's brand new. Only difference is that the monthly payment will probably be about $1,000 to $1,500 more because of the interest rate. Interest rate going up, and it has gone up over the last 2 to 3 years from about 3% to 7%. And you're literally talking about $1,000 to $1,500 more a month for the same exact home that you would have gotten 2 or 3 years ago. Wow. So all of these things have made it a state of emergency for a young budding family or individual. So our job as realtors is to solve these problems, right? To be the problem solvers. So one of the main things that I'm doing with a lot of my buyers now is really refocusing them in from, instead of just getting a single family home, getting a single family home with a in-law suite that maybe they can rent out. Getting a duplex, right? Or if possible, if having the proper income and credit, even getting up to a quadruplex. So with a residential loan, you can get up to a quadruplex, which is 4-unit home, where you can live in one unit and rent the other 3. Now, this can be very difficult because, unfortunately, a lot of these multifamily homes are in communities that are less desirable, so to say.
Right.
But the way we find a way around it is that we do have access to some builders that where we can actually purchase the land and build ourselves a duplex, a single family home with an in-law suite, a triplex or a quadruplex. So this is some of the tactics that we're using to get around the inaffordability of home ownership. One of the greatest impediments that new home buyers have to get around, though, is their own grandizement, their own expectations. We're very much a social media world where we see our friend has a big brand new house, and many times we're not willing to settle. I'm air pumping, right? We're not willing to settle, right? But many times, like myself, I live in a beautiful home, but this is my fourth home, right? In about 15 years. I didn't start off. That's why it's called a starter home. So we have to start in these homes that may be small and quaint to start with and live within our means. If that's our budget, that's still better than renting, right? Mm-hmm. It's still better than renting. So these are some of the tactics that we're using to overcome these huge obstacles. But we have to act with urgency. We're in a state of emergency in our communities. Recently, there was a book out by two authors called 15 Cents to the Dollar that basically said that the wealth gap between white and black families with same education, same background is 15 cents to the dollar. Wow. The major reason for this gap is the gap in real estate ownership.
That's why it's called real estate.
Keep it real.
That, right. So everybody's feeling it right now, Brother Michael. When you go to the grocery store, you're walking out with, you go in there with $50, you're coming out with $4, and all you got is a bag of groceries, right?
$50.
In the same respect, the cloth, right? If you even come back out with the $4 with the
that's like a half.
That's
like a half full bag of groceries, brother.
Absolutely. So, which basically I'm alluding to the fact of inflation, and one of the signs of a slowing economy is that there is less spending, right? And so people are spending less money. And the U.S. economy started on a 2024 on a soft note, and people anticipated, that inflation rate, interest rates would come down, but there was an elevated inflation, and interest rates have continued to go up and weigh on the economy. So all of that I'm saying to ask you, man, what are the effects of a slowing economy on real estate? And if the economy continues to slow and slows further, what does that mean for real estate right now?
Oh man, absolutely great question. When you're talking about a slowing economy, really, and many times on a slowing economy, it really pushes out what we call primary residents or consumer home buyers, right? These are families or people that are basically purchasing homes to live in as their primary residence. Why does it push them out? High interest rates and really lack of credit, right? Loans dry up in that type of market. Loan lenders become much more restrictive on lending funds. They put a lot more what's called overlays on lending funds, meaning that you may have to have a higher credit score. You may have to have more money down, right? Things like down payment assistance programs, they go away, they dry up, right? First time home buyers program, those things dry up. And then what comes into the market, as we saw before in the market crash back in 2006-07, now that leaves way for a lot of investors to come into the market, right? So our sister earlier, Sister Kalila, asked me, and she literally got a call on her phone before we came onto this program of someone calling her, a corporation calling her, asking her, even though her home is not for sale, does she want to sell her home, right? So I have seen a tremendous uptick of investors, wholesalers, basically texting me. As a realtor, they're always texting me, hey, do you have any homes that are distressed, right? They're looking for distressed homes, right? That's the key, distressed homes. They're looking for, unfortunately, a lot of these investors and wholesalers, which I really don't care for some of the tactics used. You bring in investors or wholesalers that are looking for death in the family,
right?
Loss of income, right? So now the person can't afford the home. Destruction, someone had a fire, maybe they didn't have insurance, right? These are literally, and this is not all investors and all wholesalers. but unfortunately, there's a lot of these bad actors in the market. And so when you have a crumbling economy like this, it brings in these bad actors that come to basically they sniff out like a pig. They sniff out death and destruction so they can take advantage, because they're usually not trying to give you a fair market price for your home, right? Like me as a realtor, right? I'm obligated to get you the best and a good fair market price for your home, what is really valued. Many of these wholesalers, investors, unfortunately, they're looking to get you and take advantage of you and get your house for way, way below market so they can turn it around and make a ton of money off of your equity.
So, Brother Mark, I know you was going to, since you just brought that up, Brother Michael, according to an article in the Washington Times published back in March, it says that recent data reveals that in the third quarter of 2023, private equity firms accounted for 44% of purchases of flip single-family houses, driving the prices of houses higher. How is this, since you were just talking about those private equity firms and them sniffing it out, how is this potentially problematic for prospective homeowners, especially Black prospective homeowners?
Man, that's huge, especially in our area, in Central Florida area, right? That's huge in Florida. To take it even further than that, a lot of private equity firms are literally buying land, building brand new houses, just like a developer would, but instead of selling them, renting them out. So you have whole communities, 500 houses, brand new. And they're literally, all they do is just rent them out. They don't sell them. So there's two ways we can look at this. Really, I mean, in many ways, these private firms are basically taking advantage. This that's capitalism, right? They saw a need, right? In Florida in particular, in many places throughout the country, there's a housing shortage.
Yes, sir.
There really is. There's a housing shortage. So they're just seeing the opportunity and taking advantage of it. What we got to look at is, man, why didn't I do that? In many of our, in particular areas of cities, big cities, where we have especially a majority Black population, many of us, unfortunately, has allowed our homes and our communities to basically wither away around us, not upkeeping, not continue to expand our communities. Right. And then these investors come in after we've been there for maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Some people say I've had generations come into this home, in this community. But what did you do with it during that time? Did you upkeep it, right? And so now someone else comes in and they're going to buy it from you, right? You're not going to get highest dollar. Why? Because you just basically didn't do any upgrades or updates to it all the time you were in it. So now they buy it cheap and then either rent it or sell it and make money off of your equity, what should be yours. So we really have to take a look in the mirror, right? Many of us have sat on the fence for the last 10 years. There was a time when interest rates were as low as about 2.5%. Where can you go and borrow $500,000 and say, you know what? I'm going to take 30 years to pay you back. And you know what? You're only going to get 2% interest. Does anybody you know want to take that deal? I know that, right? Like, that's almost free money at 2% interest.
Right.
But many people, I unfortunately have clients that sat on the fence. They're waiting for the big market to drop again. Right. You don't know when it's going to happen. You can't make plans off of something you don't know what's going to happen. And still, owning is better than renting. You are literally giving away your life savings by renting and staying in that position.
Wow.
Praise be to
I'm still blown away. It's still a blown away.
Praise be to Allah. Yeah, brother, you are giving some very valuable information, very concise. You're actually nailing many of our question.
I mean, like knocking them out. Boom, 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 boom. That's the God in you. That's the God in you.
I've been practicing my tuning in, brother. The TV in the head, brother.
Yeah, definitely down pat. And I'm gonna just pass it on to Sis Khalila because you answered my next question about
Well, praises be to Allah.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, I think it's still very vital. I mean, I'm sure you can expound on it some more, Brother Michael. It's just why shouldn't I wait? These high interest rates. Why shouldn't I wait? Why should I try to get some piece of land right now? Why should I get some real estate for my family, for myself? Despite the difficulty.
To reverse engineer this thing a little bit, some of the talk that I hear from people as in reasons not to buy real estate, which for some people has been many years. It's been 10 years, 20 years that, you know, I know some people that maybe 40, 50 years old or maybe older that have never owned a home. We got to be careful that we don't take on mixed teaching, mixed instruction.
Right.
One of the things I hear pretty recently is, well, I don't want a 30-year mortgage.
Right. I'm too old.
I'm too old. I don't want a 30-year mortgage. I hear the 30-year mortgage thing pretty often. So what I say to those people is this. First of all, if you have a good real estate professional, you can actually shorten that 30-year mortgage down to 15 or 10 years. It's called accelerating your mortgage, right? And I'm about to give you $1 million worth of game for free 99, right? So how do you do that? You do that by, let's say, for instance, you had a $2,000 per month mortgage payment, right? Instead of paying once a month $2,000, you're going to divide that by 4. That will give you $500, and you're going to pay your monthly. You're going to pay your mortgage weekly $500. You're going to send $500 per week to the bank, as opposed to sending $2,000 per month. Also, small note you're going to do on that is that you're going to put on each check or direct deposit, however you do it, a note that says paid towards principal. If you do that, you can literally change a 30-year mortgage and pay it off in 15 years, paying no extra money. Same amount of money every month, right? Same amount of money. As far as renting, when you rent, you are literally giving away your life savings. Not only that, you are paying for the dreams and aspirations of your landlord. You are putting your landlord's children through college. You are paying your landlord's pension and retirement fund, and literally robbing your own kin and next generation of generational wealth, your own children, at the same time. What we don't understand is that a house that we buy today, that we can probably get paid off in 15 years. In 10 years, it will be worth $100,000 more, $200,000 more. And if you get it paid off in 15 to 10 years, now you just took your liability called rent, called mortgage, and made it profitability. And this is the position that we want to be in order to build wealth. Honestly, I'm doing some research now, and my theory is this. I believe that renting the origins of it come from sharecropping.
Come on, beloved.
It is literally a sharecropping system. And when you look at some of the old language used in sharecropping, a lot of the language that we use in renting comes from the same language.
Yes, sir.
When you are renting, you are literally, what are you renting?
Mm.
What are you purchasing every month? You are purchasing time,
Mm.
right?
Right.
A lease is for a certain amount of time. A year lease meaning that you're buying time. You have zero investment in the home.
Mm.
You're just buying a slot of time. Talk black to me.
Jeez.
Brother
Man.
Michael, we do have a question from your husband, Sister Kalila.
Oh!
Just as a follow-up to that, Brother Sean here poses this question. Brother Michael, how do you accelerate your mortgage when there are situations like this, when how do you accelerate your mortgage when the lender will not allow you to make
Principal
mortgage
only payment.
is paid first? Principal only payments. Penny Mac is a lender that does this. What's your experience with this, Brother Michael?
Yeah, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do. Basically, in that case, you would have to pay extra money per month, right? If your mortgage is $2,000 a month, pay $2,500, pay $220, overpay your mortgage in that situation. Unfortunately, there are some lenders that have gotten hip to this and don't allow you to accelerate your mortgage in the manner that I spoke of, but there's very few that do that. Some of them, they'll do it by saying that you can't send multiple payments in a month, right? They'll say that you can't do it, right? You can't send it multiple times in a month. Or you can't say partial payments, right? They want a full payment. In that case, you gotta start paying your mortgage early and paying a little bit more each time. This will also accelerate your mortgage.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the business of real estate like we are. So therefore, again, like you're saying, I mean, the downfall to that is, even though they say we are willing to help you, they're not. They're saying, hey, I want you to still be a slave with our foot on your neck. So
right,
that's the reality of it all. So, even with that, dealing with trends, what are the trends that you see in real estate? Specifically, homes bought in the state of Florida, because I live in Florida. So I want to talk about what our reality is, because of course you are a real estate agent in Florida.
It is a very weird and unique time, right? Most of the time when you talk about real estate, especially, I get this question a lot. Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market, right? That's a very common question. And for the first time in my experience, I would say it's neither. It's a very weird market. Very, very unusual and weird market, right? And why is it not a buyer's market? It's not a buyer's market because interest rates are really high, right? And so buyers do not have the buying power that they used to have, right? And many of them are staying on the fence because they're like, listen, okay, according to my lender, I can afford the $3,000 mortgage. But when I'm trying to buy this $400,000 house, it's still in Miami, right? A $400,000 house is still a fixer-upper, right? It's still a fixer-upper, right? So do I want to spend $3,000 a month and still have a fixer-upper?
Right.
And some of them are saying, even though I can afford them, my lender says it's okay. It don't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling, right? I don't feel like I'm getting great value for my dollar. On the other side, the seller is really for the same reasons is saying, you know what? I don't want to sell my house. Yeah, I'm going to make a lot of money, but I don't want to sell my house because when I go to buy my new house, prices are much higher and the interest rate is much higher.
Right.
So you know what? I'm going to stay put. I'm going to stay right here, right? Because even though I'm going to make profit off my house, I don't look forward to paying a mortgage payment that is twice as much as my current house.
And not only that, you're dealing also with digging into your, your credit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a factor. All the things that you're going to have to probably deal with in regards to being upside down, and so forth. So who wants to deal with that again? I mean, so yeah, you that's a very wise move, just to stay put until if you land some money. First of all, call me, then we can do. But yes, I totally agree with you.
It depends on your situation, right? Sometimes we move because family has gotten bigger or we got a different job somewhere else and things of that nature.
Right.
And some people are very old school. Sometimes I meet people and they've owned their house for 20 years, 30 years. And my parents are like this. We're going to never sell this house. We're going to keep it going on in generations and generations. I'm going to pass it down to you and never sell it. I said, well, okay, that's not a modern way of thinking. And it's okay to sell. There's a time to buy and there's a time to sell. We have to understand when those best times are. For instance, I'll just give an analogy of myself, my personal homes. I bought a home back in 2010. Beautiful house, 3,000 square foot home. I bought it for $150,000. This was a time when the market was very depressed. A lot of foreclosures and short sales and things of that nature. By the way, that deal don't exist no more, all right? Stop waiting around for that deal to come. That time has come. It's past, right? Right? Your parents will also say, I bought a Cadillac for $10,000 brand new back in 1970. Yeah, try getting that price right now. It will not come back around again, right? So look forward at what's in front of us. Stop trying to wait for that market to come back again. It is gone, right? But in 10 years, I was able to turn around and sell it in the middle of COVID, right? 2020, I was able to turn around and sell that house for around $425,000. Over that 10 years, using accelerated mortgage, I had paid the house off. So that $425,000 was free and clear, right? That was cash into my bank account. I used that to buy myself a brand new house, right? Nicer, bigger, better, back in 2021. Now, did I lose anything because I sold my old house?
Not a thing.
No.
Not a thing, right? I made movement forward, right? I'm in a more modern, more brand new house at a higher value. By the way, when I bought the brand new house for $425,000, in the house now, 2 years later, it's worth around $555,000 in 2 years, right? So there's a time to buy and there's a time to sell, right? The answer is not always, I'm going to buy a house and stay in it and pass it on from generation to generation. If that next generation sells, but then takes the money and reinvests it towards something that is bigger, better, more income producing, then that's forward progress, right? We have to think the modern day times.
Brother Michael, can I add, there's a time to sell, there's a time to buy, but there's also a time to refinance.
Absolutely. I want
to also at just a follow-up question. When you're dealing with like Jacksonville right now, it's a certain area in Jacksonville. It's called like the East Side area.
Mhm.
And it's actually around the stadium. And
Mhm.
they're doing like this big, huge marketing in regards to they're going to be building a lot down there, right? And so someone on Facebook in Jacksonville say, hey, if you are 15 miles away from the stadium, I encourage you not to sell your house. It's going to double and triple in regards to value because of the stadium and the building of the stadium. Can you go into specifics in regards to when inflation happens and when new things start taking place, how important for you not to be so quick to sell something just to put money in your pocket?
Well, Sister Kalila, this thing called Earth, they don't make any more of it.
Okay.
So the value of it is always going to go up, right?
Okay.
Like the value of it is always going up, right? You know, just like rent always goes up, right? Those of you that rent, you never hear your landlord say, you know what, you were paying $2,000 last year. You know what, I'm gonna drop that down to $1,500 for you just because it doesn't happen, right?
Right.
Because it's a limited resource, right? So once again, maybe it is a good time to hold on to it, right?
Right.
And let the market rise. Well, we just can't be stuck in a position where we always some people will always say, I'm just going to hold on to it. I'm always going to hold on to it. No, if you can take it, sell it, reinvest it into something. See, the part you got to have the plan, right? And you got to talk to experts, right? You don't have to do it all alone, right? Talk to realtors, talk to appraisers, talk to people that are the experts so you can get guidance. And it's not the same answer for everyone, right? When I have a client, I do what's called a buyer's profile, because depending on that person's income, family structure, what's going on in their life, what they own, what they don't own, their life experiences, right? I'm going to set up a model specifically for them to purchase, right? And so all those things are details that need to be considered. And so you need to get wise counsel on these things.
Okay.
Right? Get wise counsel. If I sell that, how am I going to reinvest that? Right? And how do I plan that out in advance? Right? For surety. For instance, if I own something around the stadium, right? Okay. Let's say I want to sell it. Okay. When I sell it, I'm gonna make X amount of dollars, right? First, let me get a professional that's gonna give me a realistic idea of how much I can sell it for and how much profit I'm gonna get. Okay, maybe I could take that profit and buy another piece of land around the stadium and build a quadruplex there instead. Okay? Because the previous house I had was only zoned for single family. But now I'm going to step up my game, right? And reinvest my money, and I'm going to get me a quadruplex down the block because that's zoned as for a quadruplex. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll go into commercial, right? There's a commercial lot that's been sitting around there. Okay? Once again, you need to have the professionals that can tell you what realistically can you do with that investment, with that profit. Right? So the answers are not simple to a lot of these questions, and there's a lot of detail. And the answer, like if you ask me that question now for a particular buyer or client, that answer will be way different than 4 years ago. It's a different market, right? So all these factors matter. All these factors matter. lastly, on that, I always tell people get a realtor, especially if you are buying. Get a realtor. Why? Because a realtor does not cost you any money to get professional counsel. Doesn't cost you not one red cent. Why would you not take advantage of it?
Right, right.
And many of our people are victimized because they're not properly represented in a real estate transaction. That is the whole purpose of why realtors ever came about, because consumers were being taken advantage of in the real estate market.
That's right.
So, brother Michael, well, thank you so much, man, for giving us so much of your time right now with what you're saying, because it's like one question always leads to another question, right?
Absolutely.
And as a mathematician, this is more of an economics question. And in a nutshell, right? Why are mortgage interest rates increasing as well as the price of real estate? Like, why is that happening right now?
I'm not going to step too far out to that because I'm not an expert in that field.
Got you.
One of the things that we have to be clear about as realtors, right, is that we have to be an expert in our lane. Our job as realtors is to find the experts to help my client through the transaction. Right?
Right.
Be really good at getting the experts to help your client. For instance, right? I'm a realtor. I got to make sure I got to have a great title company for my client, right? I got to make sure I have the best inspectors, right?
Right.
If the house needs to be repaired, hey, I got to make sure I got best and qualified roofers, right? And so as a realtor, you make sure that you don't step out of your lane, be an expert in your lane, which is to get the proper experts to help your client, right? So once again, I'm not an expert in that, but
however,
one thing that happened in COVID is that it created what's called a super or hyper real estate market.
Right.
Where the prices of homes were accelerating at such a fast rate that they exceeded the income, right? So in order to slow that down, right? Well, first of all, what sped it up? What sped it up was a influx of money at low interest rates. See, when it's 2%, at 2%, everybody can afford an FHA loan. Almost everybody, right?
Right.
And not only were people using that, but people were using that and trying to get 2, 3, 4 homes, right? They were trying to double up because money was so cheap at that low interest rate. Eventually, it spirals out of control, inflation, and in order to slow that down, they raised interest rates to slow it down because prices were going up too fast. So this is the Federal Reserve's way of controlling and balancing out the market, right? If it's too high, we got to slow it down. If it's too slow, you got to speed it up. And they use interest rate oftentimes to do that. I won't go any further than that because I'll be stepping out of my realm of expertise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Brother Michael, I'm going to read some more numbers, some more information, official statistics, information from the news. According to Fox Business, lawmakers say that investors have scooped up hundreds of thousands of houses to rent out, and it is contributing to the death of homes for sale and driving up home prices and rent. They argue that investor buying has made it harder for first-time buyers to compete with Wall Street-backed investment firms. Legislators in multiple states, including Nebraska, New York, California, and Minnesota, are proposing legislation that would force companies that own a great number of single-family homes to sell them on the market. Does this appeared to be like, although not the same, but another financial bubble that is comparable to the one that was in 2008?
It's not comparable. It's different. It is very much different. The major thing in 2007, 2008 that caused the bubble to burst, so to say, the decline in the real estate market, was basically bad loans, right? Previous to 2006, 2007, lenders were basically giving out loans very unregulated, giving out loans to people that really couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford it, right? In particular, giving out these balloon loans, right? These interest-only loans, balloon loans, right? And since 2007, there's been the mortgage companies have been extremely regulated since then, right? To avoid that from happening. So that's different than what's going on now, right? Also, too, back in that day as well, appraisers had a hand in that as well, right? So some of what was going on was that as an appraiser, you go out and you give an honest evaluation of a house, right?
Right.
But what some unethical appraisers were doing was that, the contract says $500,000, it's worth $500,000.
Oh, I have seen a lot of that. A lot of that.
Right. Whatever numbers on the contract, it's worth that, right? And so creating value that's not there, right? Creating values that's there. On top of that, someone's getting approved for a loan on overinflated price, made up price, and the consumer really can't afford the home, right? According to the numbers. Their DTI is way out of whack and things of this nature. And on top of that, they were allowing people to do that with multiple loans, right? You had a lot of people that were buying 2 and 3 so-called primary residence, and they were allowing this, right? Interest only, 5-year balloon loans, things of this nature. So that's what caused the meltdown of the real estate market then. Right now, this is a little bit different, right? This is way different. I don't think there'll be a crash like that going on now. I think if there is a crash of the real estate market, it will be something kind of more unexpected and something out of our control and something from outside of the real estate market, like impending war, right? Right, disaster, war, things of this nature, right? I think it'll be something like that that'll more affect the real estate market as opposed to internal real estate market issues.
Or America for sale. Okay.
It is already for sale.
Right.
You better get some. You better get some.
We have another question from Brother Sean. He's asking all the questions tonight.
Look, my husband loves this type of conversation. As soon as I say, brother,
that's right.
We're gonna have to bring him on Thursday Night Talks very soon.
Oh, of course.
Bring him on to talk about property insurance adjusting.
Yes, very important.
What kind of market that is? How are the storms? See, I follow this stuff too because it's still related to real estate, right? How are the storms affecting us, right? I'm not going to go too far. That's for another show.
Right,
Brother Sean, Brother Mark, can you read the question, please?
Absolutely. Our dear brother Sean is asking the question, can you speak on the benefit of using that equity from the starter home and put it towards the new home?
Absolutely. That's the American way, right? And I described that when I talked about my own, right, home journey, right? Start where we're at. Start where your budget allows you to start, right? That may be a little townhouse. That may be a little 2-bedroom house for you and your family, right? But you get into that house, maybe 2 or 3 years later, you build equity, right? Equity is when you build value in the home, right? Meaning that the house that you bought for $250,000 today, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line is worth $250,000. You have what's called equity, that $50,000 that has been gained. You can sell that house, then take your profit, which was your equity, that's your profit, and then reinvest that into your next home, right? Which will be bigger and better and nicer, maybe a better neighborhood. And then you continue this process. You can repeat this process over and over again.
Yes, sir.
There's some people that do this every 2 and 3 years.
Wow.
Thank you for that, Brother Michael. And as we're closing, Brother Michael, here are some. You could be a shining light to us in regards to this. According to the National Association of Realtors website, which I'm very sure you're familiar with, while the U.S. home ownership rate has increased to 65.5% in 2021, the rate among Black Americans lags significantly by 44%, has only increased 0.4% in the last 10 years, and is nearly 29 percentage points less than white Americans, which is 72.7%, representing the largest Black-white home ownership rate gap in a decade. What would you account for such gaps to exist, and how can we overcome these gaps, Brother Michael?
Man, you know, we can no longer, as a community, blame the white man, so to say.
Right.
We have to blame ourselves, and really, it's lack of knowledge, lack of vision, lack of knowledge. I mean, that's our biggest impediment, right? That we don't know, right? That we're ignorant to the power of building wealth through real estate, which is the major way that wealthy people become wealthy, right? Or not even wealthy, just having a great living and be able to pass on something to our children. So we have to first start by changing our mindset, and understanding the value, that all value, right, of any value comes from property ownership, land, right? We say land, right? Which when you take land and you put structures on land, the legal name for that is called improved land, right? Just to clear those words. We have to begin with changing our mindset. In our supreme wisdom, right? We ask the question, who is the original man?
Right.
The original man is the maker, the renter. Oh, wait. Just lost all its power, right?
You ain't making nothing by renting.
Right? The maker, the renter, we just lost all its power just now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just lost all its power. Okay? I can't even go any further if I take the word owner out and put renter. Right? So we just lost all of our power.
Look, Michael, here we're saying the renter, the sharecropper.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's flowing, it's flying.
Wow.
Absolutely. So listen, get with your brother, get with someone qualified to take you step by step through the real estate home ownership process. If not for yourself, for your children. Right? If not for yourself, but for your children. Honestly, for those of us that are 40, 50, 60 years old, you know, our grandparents and great-grandparents, they might not have much, but many of them, they might have that little house, right? And we understand them a little bit more because eventually we all got to satch on down, right? We can't work no more. We can't go out and produce income, but they always had somewhere to lay their head and somewhere to always invite their family into, right? Their grandchildren. We all went to grandpa's and grandma's house, right? And they made sure they owned it outright. So when they got of age, not only they have somewhere to lay their head, but they wouldn't be a burden to their children and grandchildren, right? Just because they didn't plan in advance financially. Home ownership, land ownership is the cornerstone for any kind of wealth building and financial stability. And we have to do it. It's a state of emergency, not now, but right now. If we need help, have the good sense to get help from someone, a qualified real estate professional to help you out. It doesn't cost you anything, right? Doesn't cost you anything to get professional help, no matter our credit, right? Sometimes we spook ourselves out. Oh, my credit, I'll never get it. And I'll end on this. The reason why our company is called Team Bless Realtors. Bless up! Team Bless Realtors, right? Which is a name created by my wonderful business partner and wife, Regina, is because I remember growing up in the projects in Staten Island, New York, oldest of 9 children. I remember when I was about 10 years old, literally thinking to myself, I will never own a home. Owning a home is for rich people. So for me to now have a business where I'm helping people achieve the cornerstone of wealth and generational wealth, get into their first homes, second or third homes, or sell their home, it's a blessing. And I know I'm sharing that blessing with them. We have to first get our own way, though, right? And we deserve it, right? We deserve this.
Right.
I hope what I say has inspired us to make a move. Can you do me a favor? Can you put my number up to share with
Absolutely. I
folks?
got you.
But
I
while we're
got
doing
you.
that, Brother
Absolutely,
Michael,
Brother Michael. In fact, right there, man, that's a wonderful place for us to go ahead and to close out. Brother Michael, where can, in addition to your phone number, where can people find you? Can they find you on the social media? What are some of the tags and handles that people can find you at?
You can just put in Team Bless Realtors, whether that's online, social media, etc., etc. But I really want you to, I really want you to give me a call.
Brother Michael, what I was
That's
about
why
to
I'm giving
say,
the number.
what I was about to say, Brother Michael, is that the first thing that we must overcome within ourselves is the mindset of thinking like a renter and now thinking like an owner. So we're not owning anything, including ourselves. We're not owning anything if we do not start putting into place a new mindset. Give your brother a call. I bear witness to this.
Realtor of the gods, own or be owned.
That's right. That's right.
That's what's
My
up. Well,
God.
listen, man, thank you so much, Brother Michael, for giving us, these pounds of knowledge all the way from Staten Island to now Tampa Bay, Florida, to right here on your screen with the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. Let's give them a big bless up. Bless up. Bring your hands
Bless
together.
up. Boom, boom, bless up. Team Bless.
Mr. Fatima
And
tuning
typically,
in.
that was a great place to close out. And typically we close out with our self-care quote. And we're going to pass it over to Sister Kalila to help us to get into that mind frame so that we can change our mind state. Sister Kalila.
Yes, sir. Well, this is a good self-care quote. This self-care quote is, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. And our beautiful messenger specified that there is warning before destruction. So we must, I repeat, we must have land of our own, are we going to be a part of the rebuilding of the land again? Own it. Don't let it own you. Like Brother Michael said. Praises be to Allah.
Always own us, Sister Kalila. It'll be people.
Yeah. That too.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, family, we thank everybody for tuning in and for riding out with us. Brother Michael, you got to come back, at another time so we can get a little bit deeper into it, because I don't think this thing is going to change overnight. And so thank you again, Brother Michael, Sister Kalila, Brother Tony,
thank you,
Brother Mark, on behalf of our student regional minister, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, and all the members of the 7th Region Coalition. We'd like to give everybody, this is not a crew, this is not a clique, but yes, we are the 7th Region Coalition.
Set up, brother.
We want to greet y'all
with
the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Luxury, money, good homes, friendship in all walks of life.